Your house looks exactly like every other house on the street. Same porch light, same recycling bin out at the curb on Thursday. The mail carrier never even slows down. And yet, somewhere behind that ordinary front door, around $6,000 walks in every single month. Quietly, on time. No permits, no employees, no neighbor ever catching on. No garage sale signs, no delivery trucks idling out front. Nothing anyone would think twice about. Because none of these setups look like a business. They look like a closet, a corner, a spare room you forgot you were paying for. And that is the whole point. Stay till the end, because one of these 6 has a monthly number so lopsided, you are going to rewind just to make sure I did not quietly slip in an extra 0. I did not. It is real, and you can verify the market yourself in about 90 seconds. And subscribe right now. One complete home income setup drops on this channel every single week. The people who skip a week are the ones who miss the part where all 6 of these quietly start paying for each other. Let us walk through the door. Setup 1. The Closet Mushroom Farm. The Quiet Restaurant Supplier. Income range, $600 to $1,200 a month. Startup, $150 to $400. Time, about 30 minutes a day, most of it just looking. Gourmet mushrooms grow in a grow tent the size of a coat closet. Oyster mushrooms, lion's mane, blue oyster, pink oyster, the kinds that almost never show up fresh in a grocery store because they bruise and they do not ship well. They fruit out of hanging bags or plastic tubs stacked on a wire rack. The whole operation fits in a few square feet, runs off a wall outlet, and from outside that closet door, there is no smell, no noise, nothing. The reason this works is supply, not novelty. Restaurants love specialty mushrooms and absolutely hate sourcing them. The big distributors carry button and cremini and maybe a sad tray of shiitake. A chef who wants fresh lion's mane for a Friday tasting menu is mostly out of luck, unless somebody local can hand it to them. Fresh oyster and lion's mane move to restaurants at roughly $8 to $18 a pound, and lion's mane in particular runs at the top of that range because almost nobody grows it at volume. And here is the quiet truth about chefs. They do not want a vendor. They want a problem to go away. The grower who shows up Tuesday with the same clean product every single week, who never flakes, becomes the easiest yes that chef makes all month. But here is the angle most closet growers walk right past. They sell the mushrooms and stop there. They never sell the spent block. After a tub finishes fruiting, that colonized substrate is still loaded with mycelium, and home gardeners and other small growers will pay for it as a starter or a soil amendment. It is a second product out of the exact same operation. No new space, no new input, and most people are dragging it to the compost bin. There is even a third stream sitting there if you want it. Dried mushrooms. Lion's mane and oyster dehydrate beautifully. They keep for months. They ship in a padded envelope, and they sell to a completely different buyer than the chef. Same closet, 3 products. Most people sell one and throw the other 2 away. A grower in Portland, Oregon runs this out of a single closet in a rented duplex. 3 restaurants on a standing weekly order, plus a small Saturday pickup list of regulars who message him when the blue oysters come in. His monthly gross lands between $900 and $1,100. His substrate cost is a bag of hardwood pellets and some soy holes from a feed store. Nobody walking past that duplex has any idea. Biggest mistake? Bad air. A sealed tent with no fresh air exchange builds up carbon dioxide and goes humid and stagnant. And that is exactly the condition contamination loves. One green mold outbreak can take a whole flush overnight. The fix is a $25 inline fan on a timer, pulling fresh air through a few times an hour. That single part is the difference between a clean harvest and a wasted month. And here is where the loop begins. To sell those mushrooms online, to those pickup regulars, you need clean photos and short clips of product coming out of the tent, good light, a decent corner, which is, conveniently, the entire foundation of Setup 2. Setup 2, the content corner. The desk that brands pay rent on. Income range, $800 to $2,000 a month. Startup, $300 to $700. This is the one I told you about at the start. The lopsided number. The double take. $2,000 a month out of one lit corner of a spare bedroom, and you do not need a single follower to do it. Read that again. 0 followers. Here is what is actually happening. Brands are drowning in a need for short, native-looking video, the kind that runs as an ad on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts, and does not feel like an ad. It is called UGC, User-Generated Content, and the whole point is that it looks like a normal person holding a normal product in a normal room. Brands do not want polish. They want real. And they will pay outside people to make it for them, on a schedule, every month. So the product is not your face. It is not your audience. You have no audience. The product is the footage. A brand ships you their skincare bottle, or their coffee bag, or their phone stand. You shoot 3 or 4 short clips of it in good light with a simple script, and you send the files. They run the ads. You never post anything to your own account in your life. A creator in Columbus, Ohio, runs exactly this from one corner of a converted bedroom. A ring light, a tripod, a phone, and a roll of cheap backdrop paper. She has 4 brands on recurring monthly retainers and picks up one-off gigs between them. Per video, beginning UGC work tends to run anywhere from $75 to a few $100s, and it climbs as your portfolio fills in. Stack a few retainer clients, and that corner clears well past $1,000 some months, into 2 on a good one. And here is the part that should make your jaw drop a little. The barrier to entry is almost nothing. You are not buying a cinema camera. The phone in your pocket already shoots better video than the cameras that filmed actual television a decade ago. The whole kit, the light, the tripod, the backdrop, costs less than a single month of what this setup earns. There is no degree. There is no gatekeeper. There is a brand with an ad budget and a problem, and there is you with a lit corner and a phone. And the only thing standing between those two facts is a sample reel you can film in an afternoon. The biggest mistake is pricing by the video and staying there forever. One-off clips mean you are constantly hunting for the next gig, always selling, never stable. The operators who actually clear real money flip to a monthly retainer. 4 to 8 videos a month, one flat number, billed on the first. Now you are not chasing work, you are managing a client. And a client on retainer refers other clients, because the people who run brands all know each other, and good UGC creators who actually deliver on time are rarer than you would ever guess. And notice what just happened. That same corner, that same light, that same backdrop is now the place you photographed the mushrooms from Setup 1. It is the place you will shoot everything the other 4 setups need to sell. One corner, feeding the whole house. But all that footage has to live somewhere, and it has to get edited, which is the quiet job of Setup 3. Setup 3, the mini PC stack. The shelf that never sleeps. Income range, $500 to $1,000 a month. Startup, $400 to $900. Picture a small wire shelf in a closet or tucked beside the water heater in a utility room. On it sit 3 or 4 mini PCs. Little boxes, each smaller than a hardcover book, drawing barely more power than a couple of light bulbs. No tower, no giant fans roaring. From the doorway, it looks like a router shelf, the kind of beige clutter every house has and nobody questions. What that shelf does is sell time. Compute time, render time, storage and hosting. There is steady, unglamorous demand for small jobs that a person with a few quiet machines can take on. Rendering and encoding work for other creators, hosting small sites and bots, running automation that other small businesses do not want to babysit. None of it is flashy. All of it pays, and it pays while you sleep, which is the entire appeal. A setup like this runs outside Austin, Texas, on a shelf in a hallway closet. The boxes were bought used. The bill stays low because the power draw is tiny. And the machines run essentially around the clock, taking on small, recurring jobs. It is not life-changing money on its own. It is rent and then some money that requires almost no daily attention once it is configured. And that phrase, once it is configured, is the whole secret of this one. The work is front-loaded. You spend a weekend setting it up, getting the jobs flowing, locking in the recurring clients, and after that, the shelf mostly runs itself. The income is not tied to your hours anymore. It is tied to the machines staying on, which they do, whether you are at work, asleep, or on a beach somewhere. Here is the connection that makes it earn its place in the house. Remember all that UGC footage from Setup 2 and the mushroom clips from Setup 1? This shelf is what chews through the editing and renders the exports overnight. And it is what stores every raw file so you are not paying a monthly cloud bill on top of everything. It does its own paid work, and it quietly subtracts a cost from 2 other setups at the same time. The biggest mistake on this one is heat. People shove these machines into a sealed closet, close the door, and walk away. And a closed closet full of always-on computers turns into an oven. Heat throttles performance and shortens the life of the hardware. The fix is almost free. A $30 fan moving air through the closet and a cheap temperature sensor on your phone so you get an alert before anything cooks. Trivial cost. Protects the whole shelf. Now that shelf can edit and store all day long. But some of what this house sells is physical. It needs to be made. Which brings us to the corner that prints money on a timer. Setup 4. The 3D print farm. The bench that runs while you are gone. Income range, $700 to $1,500 a month. Startup, $500 to $1,200. A few 3D printers lined up on a workbench in the garage or a spare room. They hum at a low murmur, no louder than a dishwasher in another room. And they run for hours completely unattended. You start a job before bed, you wake up to finished product. That is the rhythm. What they print is print-on-demand goods, desk organizers, phone stands, planters, cable holders, niche hobby parts, custom name signs. The steady evergreen stuff that sells on Etsy and similar marketplaces day after day. The trick that separates the people who make money from the people who buy a printer and quit is boring on purpose. You do not chase the viral trinket of the week. You find 1 or 2 evergreen products that sell every single day, all year, and you make those relentlessly, while everyone else burns out chasing the next fad toy. A maker in Tampa, Florida, runs a small bench of printers on exactly this model. A tight, boring catalog of products that never stop selling. Printed overnight, packed in the morning, shipped by afternoon. The printers do the labor. The human just feeds them filament and tape. The beauty of it is that the machine works a full shift while the operator sleeps, eats, and lives a normal life. You are not trading hours for dollars. You set the machine running, and the machine runs whether you are watching it or not. 4 printers running overnight is 4 employees who never call in sick, never ask for a raise, and never need a break. Now here is the angle that makes this setup the secret handshake of the whole house. Those printers do not only print products to sell, they print the parts the other setups need. The mushroom farm in setup 1 needs hooks, drying racks, and little fittings for the tent. The content corner needs phone clamps and prop holders. The print farm makes all of it, in-house, for the cost of a few cents of plastic, instead of you ordering it and paying retail and shipping. It earns on its own, and it lowers everyone else's bill at the same time. The biggest mistake here is chasing trends. People print the meme toy that is hot for 2 weeks, the market floods, the price collapses, and they are left with a bin of plastic nobody wants. The fix is discipline. Pick the unsexy evergreen product, the one that sells 15 units a day forever and bores you to tears. Boring is what pays the mortgage. Quick check-in. Let me stop you for 30 seconds, because we are at the halfway mark, and the math is already getting silly. Add up what we have so far. The mushroom closet, the content corner, the compute shelf, the print bench. We are already stacked well past $3,000 a month, and not one of those 4 is visible from the street, audible to a neighbor, or flagged by a single line in a standard lease. 2 setups left, and this next one is the reason the whole house can run completely above board, completely legal, in the open, with a paper trail you would happily hand to your city if they ever asked. Most people have no idea this loophole exists in their own state. Stay with me, because once you know the number, you will go look up your own state's rules before this video is even over. Setup 5. The cottage food kitchen. The loophole sitting on your countertop. Income range, $500 to $900 a month. Startup, $100 to $300. Jams, granola, cookies, bread, dry mixes, roasted nuts. The shelf-stable stuff you can make in the kitchen you already cook dinner in, sold to the public, completely legally, with no commercial kitchen, no separate facility, and no big license to buy. This is possible because of cottage food laws. Almost every state in the country has one. They exist specifically to let regular people sell certain low-risk, shelf-stable foods made in a home kitchen without forcing them to rent a commercial space. The exact rules vary state to state, but the spirit is the same everywhere. Bake it at home, label it correctly, sell it directly, stay under your state's revenue cap, and you are operating legally. That cap is the whole game, and it is wildly different depending on where you live. Some states set a hard ceiling on cottage food revenue per year. Others set the bar very high or do not cap it at all. Texas, for example, has a generous cottage food framework with no statewide sales cap on covered foods. California runs a tiered system with a registered home kitchen path and a higher revenue tier above the basic one. The number that matters is your state's number, and looking it up takes about 2 minutes. An operator in Newark, New Jersey, runs a small cottage food line of baked goods in jars, sold through a standing stall at a weekend market, plus a local pickup list. The startup was a label printer, packaging, and ingredients. The income runs a few $100 to $900 a month, depending on the season, and every dollar of it is legal and documented. And the seasonality is not a weakness here. It is a lever. The food business has a calendar built into it. Holiday baking, summer jam from cheap in-season fruit, back-to-school granola. A cottage operator who leans into the calendar instead of fighting it can triple their output in the 6 weeks before the winter holidays, when people are buying giftable, homemade food faster than anyone can make it, and then coast in the slow months. You are not trying to sell the same thing flat all year. You are riding the waves the calendar hands you for free. The biggest mistake is the one that turns a good thing into a problem. Blowing past your state's revenue cap, or selling a food that is not on the approved shelf-stable list without realizing you have crossed a line. The moment you exceed the cap or sell something that needs refrigeration, you can trip into needing a real commercial license. And now your sweet little kitchen operation has a compliance issue. The fix costs nothing. Read your state's cottage food rules once, know your cap, know your approved list, and stay inside the lines. The loophole only protects you while you are standing inside it. And here is how this one wires into the house. The product photos that sell those jars and bags, shot in the content corner from Setup 2. The labels and the little branded packaging inserts, printed on the bench from Setup 4. The kitchen makes the food. The other setups make it look like a brand. One setup left, the anchor. The closet with the highest ceiling in the entire house. Setup 6, the reselling station. The closet that funds everything else. Income range, $1,000 to $2,500 a month. Startup, $200 to $600. This is the anchor, and it is the one with the biggest number because it has the highest ceiling and the fastest cash cycle of anything in the house. Here is the shape of it: a closet or a corner of a room stacked with inventory. Then you sell it, live, on camera, on a platform built for exactly this. Live selling has exploded. Whatnot built an entire marketplace around people going live and selling collectibles, sneakers, trading cards, vintage clothing, beauty, and oddities in real time. And eBay and others have leaned hard into the same live and auction format. The seller holds up an item, talks for 90 seconds, and buyers bid or grab it on the spot. It is part shopping, part show. The reason this anchors the house is the same lit corner you have already built. You do not need a studio. You need the content corner from Setup 2, a phone, decent light, and inventory. You source low at estate sales, liquidation lots, thrift runs, and clearance, and you sell live, where the energy of a real-time room pushes prices up and clears stock fast. The cash cycle is days, not months. A reseller in Denver, Colorado runs 2 live shows a week out of a spare bedroom closet packed with inventory, sourcing local, selling live, shipping the next morning. The operation has run for 3 years. The HOA has never sent a letter. No neighbor has ever complained, because there is nothing to complain about. From the street, it is a normal house with a normal car in the normal driveway. What makes live selling so much stronger than just listing things and waiting is the room itself. When 100 people are watching a show at once, scarcity does the selling for you. There is one of the item. 3 people want it. The clock is ticking. That pressure pushes the final price higher than any static listing ever would, and it clears stock at a speed that a regular online shop cannot touch. A static listing sits there, hoping for one buyer to wander by. A live show puts your item in front of a room full of buyers who are already in a buying mood, already competing, already reaching for the button. Same item, completely different outcome. The biggest mistake is dead inventory. New resellers fall in love with their stock, refuse to drop the price, and end up with a closet full of stuff that will not move and cash they cannot get back. The fix is a hard rule. Anything that has not sold in 30 days goes live at a price that will move it, even at a loss, because cash you can reinvest is worth more than a shelf of items you are emotionally attached to. Discipline beats inventory every time. The hidden engine. Now watch what actually happens when you stop looking at these as 6 separate things and see them as one machine. The content corner is the heart. That single lit corner shoots the mushroom product, the cottage food jars, the reselling inventory, and the brand work all from the same spot. So the cost of making it look professional gets paid once and shared across everything. The compute shelf is the nervous system. It edits all that footage and stores every file, which means Setup 2 and Setup 5 never pay a separate editor or a monthly cloud bill. The print bench is the supply room. It makes the racks, clips, fittings, and packaging the other setups would otherwise buy at retail, dropping a line item off 4 different budgets at once. So follow the money the right way. Each setup earns on its own, yes, but each one also quietly subtracts a cost from another. The corner that earns $2,000 also kills the photography cost for 3 other setups. The shelf that earns its own keep also erases the editing and storage bills. The printer that sells its own catalog also supplies the rest of the house for pennies. That is why the combined number lands around $6,000 a month, while the combined cost keeps drifting down the longer you run it. The setups are not roommates splitting rent. They are a crew, each one covering for the others. Pull any one of them out, and the rest gets slightly more expensive. Run all 6, and the house starts paying for itself. And there is a second thing the loop does that almost nobody talks about. It protects you. 6 small streams that each bring in $1,000 or so is a far steadier position than one stream bringing in 6. If the print market softens for a month, the mushroom closet does not care. If a brand pauses its UGC budget, the reselling shows keep firing twice a week. No single bad month can sink the house, because no single setup is carrying it. That is not just more money. That is the kind of money that lets you sleep, because it does not all walk out the door at once. The ordinary house. Pull the camera all the way back now. Stand across the street and look at it again. Same porch light, same recycling bin, same mail carrier who never slows down. From the curb, it is the most forgettable house on the block, and that is exactly the way you want it. Because behind that ordinary front door, 6 quiet engines are running, and none of them needs a sign, a storefront, a uniform, or a single nosy neighbor's permission. And here is the part I want you to actually take with you, because it is not the flashy part. This is not a yacht. This is not a Lamborghini in the driveway fantasy that you already know in your gut is not coming. This is the mortgage covered. This is the car paid off. This is the grocery run that stops making your stomach tighten at the register. From rooms you are already paying for, whether they earn $1 or not. The spare bedroom you use for storing boxes. The closet by the hallway. The corner of the garage. You are already heating it. You are already paying the rent or the mortgage on those square feet. Right now, they cost you money and give you nothing back. The only question this whole video is really asking is whether you keep paying for empty rooms or you put them to work where nobody will ever notice but you. Build one. Just one. Pick the setup that fits the space you already have and start there. Once one is running and quietly paying for itself, the next one is easier, because the corner is already lit and the shelf is already humming. Nobody builds all 6 in a weekend, and nobody should try. You build the first one. You let it pay for itself and prove the idea is real with your own money in your own hand. Then that first win funds the second, and the momentum does the rest. The hardest setup you will ever build is the first one, not because it is difficult, but because it is the only one you have to start from nothing. Every one after it stands on the back of the one before. And do not wait for the perfect room, the perfect timing, the perfect everything. The person in Portland did not have a perfect closet. The person in Denver did not have a perfect spare bedroom. They had a space they were already paying for and a decision to stop letting it sit empty. That decision is the entire difference between the people who watch 100 videos like this one and the people who quietly clear an extra few thousand a month while their street has no idea. Subscribe, because next week I am breaking down a single one of these in full, start to finish. The kind of detail that gets you running in a weekend. And do me one favor on the way out. Drop a comment and tell me which of the 6 you would build first. The closet farm, the corner, the shelf, the bench, the kitchen, or the reselling station. I read them, and the answer tells me which one to break down next. The house is ordinary. What you do inside it does not have to be.